After Chapter 13, you get another batch of new seals, essentially finishing promotion. Today, I'll set up the team I'll have for the next section of the game. This will be my last Somniel video for some time. The team will keep changing, but I want to focus on actually playing maps for a while. I think of engaged team building as spending a kind of budget. When you make especially effective choices, maximizing Papaya and Mercurius to accelerate XP gain, rostering powerful units like Kagetsu and Ivy, and leaning into game-wolfing tools like Bonded Shield, you gain leeway to maximize whatever you enjoy about the game. I'm accumulating a large budget by using the DLC, refining my clears to squeeze out more training with less investment, and deploying good units. I'm already spending that budget in different ways, playing fairly quickly, using a large team, and eschewing some of the game's tools. That's standard financial planning. Continuing this metaphor, we might say the Fire Emblem community has an accounting fraud problem. Let's say I wanted to con you into thinking Amber wasn't just number one in my heart. I'm of course above this kind of petty deceit. Look at my Kagetsu and Panette analyses. A less scrupulous me, however, wouldn't just declare Amber's the best unit straight up. That'd arouse suspicion. Instead, I'd tell you the class I give him isn't that good, the emblem he gets isn't a premium choice, and the stat boosters he gets either don't matter or are completely deserved. I'd do the opposite for other units, sandbagging them with some par builds while pretending they can't do better. Then I can simply observe Amber's brilliance and, by having cooked the books to move that budget surplus from other choices to Amber himself, pull the wool over your eyes. It's tricky to spot this if you're newer to the metagame. Once you get a couple runs under your belt, it's clear early Marth training into a Lin Warrior build makes basically anyone good. But on your first run, you might instead think Etty is uniquely good in that role, despite, say, Amber doing even better with those resources. I'm above this kind of trickery. Sure, I want to show how Amber and Anna can thrive, but I have no interest in surreptitiously holding back other units to make my faves look better by comparison. Last map I had Amber on garbage cleanup duty while Citrinne dominated. Amber could have done that, you know, but I have the moral rectitude to decide Citrinne deserves that favoritism instead. I'm fielding Citrinne and Ivy even as a big Anna fan. That's not something I'd do if I were some sort of propagandist. In fact, because I'm such a man of integrity, I'm going to give the units competing with Amber and Anna extra special treatment. This video is dedicated to them. I'll devote my undivided attention to optimizing the units I'm not biased towards, just so you the viewer won't come away misinformed. Let's start with Citrinne. It might look like I've given Citrinne her best build, but after the kind of deep reflection I only did because I truly care about Citrinne living her best life, I'm not so sure. She's wasting Lin's talents, wouldn't you say? Sure, last map she got an Astral Storm kill, but that won't happen once enemies promote and Citrinne's strength flatlines. There's also many strategies that only work with a 20 range Astral Storm. If Anna didn't hit the speed benchmark against the fast Wyvern in Chapter 13, I had no way to pick him off from the shore. To really maximize Lin, therefore, Citrinne needs to be in a covert class with bows. That inexorable, nay, unassailable logic leads to Sniper. I said in Fagato's analysis that, excepting a few builds, the Magic Radiant Bow is basically his personal weapon. Need an exception. There are a couple downsides. The loss of a good magic class, base, growth, or cap, 100% activation bondage shield, a class skill that helps with the only stat holding Citrinne back from greatness, light weapons that do actual damage, 1 ranged weapons that do actual damage, 3 ranged weapons that do actual damage, and 6 movement. That's all unfortunate, but 20 range magic Astral Storms is what real gamers prioritize. Some LTCs do this, and as we all know, that's the only valid source for making decisions in Engage. Besides, once the Astral Storm stops getting kills, I think Mage Knight Citrinne would fall off pretty hard. I even gave Citrinne the Chapter 9 Spirit Dust Anna could have taken. If she can't make things work with all this help, I don't know what to tell you. Alright, now it's Chloé's turn. I'm sure she's excited given how well I treated Citrinne. Last map, I had Chloé set up max reprisal damage. If I'm going to do that going forward, it's only natural I should be trying to maximize her HP and offense. Griffin holds her back here. It doesn't even boost her HP growth. A lesser man would be tempted to keep Chloé stuck in Sword Griffin just to make other units look better, but not me. I'll give her the objectively best class for Veronica, good HP and mixed offense. See this, Royal Knight? This is what peak performance looks like. I don't pick classes based on silly stuff. I cannot stress enough how serious I'm being right now. But I'll note that Chloé is a Royal Knight of Firene, as she says a million times in the arena, so this feels pretty canon to me. There are a few downsides of Royal Knight. 3 speed, flight resistance, clear the way, her choice of weapon type as lances. Boring. Royal Knight does boast a massive 5 HP growth and the same magic growth as Griffin. Every 40 levels, Chloé's getting a whole extra point of reprisal plus damage. Plus it is 2 extra magic and 1 extra HP at base. The Fateful Dawn LTC Iron Man I put a timestamp link to in the description was so kind as to demonstrate the inexorable brilliance of Royal Knight, using it for extra healing through its higher magic. I'm sure looking at that video would convince anyone that Royal Knight is the superior choice. Because I'm such a nice guy, even though I admit I'm not Chloé's biggest fan, I went out of my way to give Chloé a perfect skill for her, Lance Power 1. Chloé has Lance proficiency, after all. Even though Royal Knight doesn't have an A+ rank, I'm sure she's more comfortable with javelins than the Flame Lance. We haven't seen the Flame Lance yet, but don't worry, it's basically the same as the Levin Sword. Yeah. Consider Lance Power 1 my gift to her in gratitude for her slumming it in Sword Griffin for a few maps. It is, after all, objectively the best skill you can inherit with Sigurd Bond Rank 5 and 1000 SP. With a fancy early skill, an ideal class, and the hardest carry emblem in the game, if she isn't soloing maps, I think she's just washed. Alright, now some new joiners. Merrin will be joining the team going forward, if you couldn't tell from her analysis and my XP routing last map. I'll definitely let her pop off in Wolf Knight eventually, but I do think properly showcasing Merrin means showing her flexibility. Now that I'm freeing Chloé to pursue her dreams, I do want someone to replace that fast flyer role, supplementing Ivy and Amber. Merrin, being the team player she is, will fill that gap. Griffin Merrin works out well for this team. With A axes, she can take the revanche sitting in my convoy. She can also take no attune now that Lapis is mostly on support duty. The haters will claim that I'm giving Merrin extra love because I like her character, but Griffin is really a thankless support class. Don't worry, Merrin. If you pay your dues now, I'm sure you'll have greatness in your future. This little maneuver cost me 1400 bond fragments, and staff proficiency requires DLC. It's almost as if there's another unit with similar stats to Merrin who the game wanted to give this niche. No one comes to mind though, so maybe not. I guess the designer's just messed up. Next up's Kagetsu. He's been busy carb loading with rice balls, which is why you haven't seen him yet. I made a serious error in my Kagetsu analysis. For his builds, I focused on silly things like movement, stats, and weapon access. That kind of simple-minded approach suggests Wyvern is some sort of ridiculously good class with basically no downsides. That should trigger alarm bells. Wyvern's being good in a Fire Emblem game? Not likely. Amber makes it work, I suppose, but that's Amber. He's a trooper. That's why I love him. Wyvern Kagetsu is good at combat, whatever that's worth, but it comes at a terrible cost. His class armor looks like it has norovirus. God, it's horrible. If you don't look your best, you can't be your best. That's why I'm keeping Kagetsu in Swordmaster. Not only will he be at his peak performance, I'm sure it'll help my other units. I'd be very motivated fighting alongside Swordmaster Kagetsu, after all. Because I'm above petty cronyism, I'm even going to give Kagetsu the energy drop a propagandist would give to Lapis or Amber. Not only that, he'll get basically sole dibs on Tiki going forward. Amber would love Tiki's extra stats, I'm sure, but I'll hand Kagetsu that favoritism. At this point we have essentially a full team. There's two normally excellent units who won't be in it for the long haul that deserve special mention, Pandreo and Panette. I want to get ahead of any bias allegations, and talk about why they're not staying on the team long term, even if they may show up once or twice. Despite being an Anna fan, I don't hold anything against Pandreo for having arguably better stats for free without any of the work training Anna requires. A lesser man would hold some kind of a rational grudge for all the times I've seen someone call Anna Diet Pandreo, but I'm chill about it. Benching Pandreo is purely a business decision, you see. I just can't fit him on the team. Anna and Saline are covering the two roles he'd normally take, and both of them have Canter. For a series at a reasonably fast pace, Canter's completely non-negotiable. I don't know what to tell you. Next is Panette. I'll have Amber using Ike a fair bit going forward. Some people would suggest that Canter and Momentum don't really matter for Great Ether, and Panette's just better at that job. I'm a rational person who isn't embittered by memories of seeing Amber called Diet Panette, because really, Resistance is the hill you're going to die on? Who needs Dex when you have Aspiring Hero? Just get good! Like I was saying, I'm above childish petty grudges. The thing is, Wyvern Panette doesn't have an A-rank weapon. Amber's access to A-lances will be extremely important for using Ike, I'm sure. And so again, as much as it pains me to say it, I just don't have room for Panette long term. Nothing personal. Panette just doesn't have any decent builds that aren't duplicated on my team. And that's the squad. You'll see how this group coheres together over the next half dozen videos. Our next opponent will be, let me check my notes, Phantasmagoria, evoking Lucina's memory of, after time traveling to the past to thwart a dystopian future, battling her father before she was ever born because by sheer happenstance, they were both selected for a single combat ritual to determine political ascendancy in a bipolar national power structure. Should be simple enough. Bye, Papaya!